Right, hey guys, On The Game here, back in another video, and today's video is going to be a discussing the, of course, Nintendo Switch 2, because today as I'm filming, June 5th is officially the release day of the system. It's finally out now, and I figured that I would basically tell you guys what I think of it overall, and the most important question is, am I going to get a Switch 2 myself? So yeah, this is going to be just a basic general discussion on my thoughts on Switch 2 and whether or not I'm thinking of getting one. Spoiler alert, I did not pre-order. Basically, simply put, I don't need to have the Switch 2 straight away. I mean, yeah, Mario Kart World looks really good, you know, and some of the other launch games. But to be honest, aside from Mario Kart World, there isn't really a whole lot at the moment that really interests me. A lot of the third-party games is stuff that's been out on like PlayStation, Xbox for years. Like Cyberpunk and Street Fighter 6 and stuff. And really, like, when you're buying a Nintendo system, you're mainly buying it for the first-party games anyway. If any of you were expecting, like, a Switch 2 unboxing today, I'm sorry, I didn't pre-order. I have no plans on getting the Switch 2 at the moment. I will get one at some point, because I am interested. But to me, personally, like, I just don't see it being worth it, because Mario Kart World is really the only game I'm interested in. You know, I don't care for, you know, the Zelda Switch 2 edition remasters or whatever, because they're just old games anyway. Don't care for those. The third-party games I could play on like PS4, whatever, like Cyberpunk and whatnot. Another reason why I didn't pre-order is because like the system is, well, it's not the system itself that's too expensive, but it's mainly the games by like £75 or $80 for Mario Kart World is just stupid. I mean, I don't care how good that game is. I am not spending that much on a Mario Kart, all right? That Mario Kart World could be a 10 out of 10, best game ever made. I refuse to pay that much for it, right? I'd rather just wait for it to go down in price to like £40 or something. I'm not spending 80 on a fucking Mario Kart, all right? Nintendo, you could piss off with that, all right? Just £75 games in general. If I do get a Switch 2, I promise you, I am not spending that much on games, all right? I'm essentially going to boycott any game that's that expensive on the Switch 2, all right? No, I'll just wait for it to go on discount, honestly. I really didn't want to buy Mario Kart World full price because to me, it just isn't worth it, you know? For some people, like, you know, obviously the Nintendo fanboys are just going to buy this stuff regardless. You know, obviously they have no problem spending $80 for Mario Kart, you know, because they just buy all the Switch 2 stuff, you know, day one, you know, get all the accessories. But for me, I can't do it, man. Again, Mario Kart World, it looks fire. It looks like a really good game. But to me, it doesn't look like a game worth spending £75 for. It just doesn't. I'm sorry. So, yeah, that's another reason why I didn't pre-order the Switch 2 is because of just how expensive, specifically Mario Kart World is. And, like, the first-party Nintendo games, a lot of them don't come out till near the end of the year, like Metroid Prime 4 and, like, Pokemon Legends and stuff. And even then, those games are cross-gen, so I can just buy them for, like, my original Switch if I really want to. Which I might do in Metroid Prime 4, because I'm actually going for the full set of all the Metroid Primes. So I might buy the original Switch version of that. We'll see. Honestly speaking, aside from Mario Kart World, there's nothing really out at the Switch for its launch that's like, oh, I really need to have the Switch 2 right now, you know? Because again, a lot of it is old third-party ports, and even games like Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S, for example. That's a game I love, by the way. I love Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 on the PS4. But like the Switch 2 version is like, it's so bare bones. I mean, they added like, I think, one new mode to it, and it's got like mouse controls now. But other than that, it's the same game from like 5 years ago. And I think they're charging like 40 quid for it, I think. Or maybe like 50, I don't remember the exact price, but I think that's a rip-off, personally. Not to mention it's a game key card as well, which is laughable, because the game is only like 4 gigs in size. Yet, they couldn't be asked to put on the cartridge. The whole thing with like this, I don't know if I've mentioned this on chat, I don't think I have, but this whole like game key card thing that the Switch 2's having, for those who don't know, game key cards are basically just like, well, game cartridges that don't actually have any game data on them. They basically just have like a license, so like when you put them in your system, it's basically a license key to download the game, you know, directly for the internet. But there's no actual data on the cartridge itself. I understand it for some of the bigger games. They said like the max storage capacity of a Switch 2 card is 64 gigs. So if they want to bring something over like Red Dead Redemption 2, which is well over 100 gigs, then yeah, something like that's definitely, you know, it makes sense for like a massive game to do a game key card. But Puyo Puyo Tetris 2, it's 4 gigabytes, and yet they did a game key card. I think the reason as to why is because I heard that like unlike with the Switch 1, the Switch 2 only has just a 64 gig card, so they don't have like multiple different size variations, and like they didn't want to waste, you know, space on a 64 gig cartridge, so that's why they're doing a game key card. That's what I've heard anyway. Which if that's true, that's stupid as hell, because when the Switch 1 had like different cartridge sizes from 1 gig all the way to like 32. So why do we only have just one for the Switch 2? I don't understand. Yeah, as much as I love that game, Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S, I refuse to buy on the Switch 2 because I think that version's a complete ripoff, personally. Sega didn't really add anything that noteworthy to it, really. It's basically just the same game again. Honestly, I'd rather just get, because you can get the game like probably like for 10 quid for the original Switch, probably even less. Honestly, I'd rather just get the original Switch version, alright? I'm basically going to boycott the Switch 2 version. Again, as much as I love that game, I think 2S is a ripoff, personally. I really do, because they just haven't really added much to it. Plus, it's a game key card, which is just laughable for a game that small. And then, like, Sonic X Shadow Generations as well. Again, that's a game key card. I mean, I've already got that on PS4, so I don't really need it on Switch 2, you know? And it's just, like stuff like that. Like, the third party... They're all old games, pretty much. Like, the third party games, you can get, like, better experience elsewhere. I mean, obviously, they'll be much better compared to, like, the Switch 1 counterparts, but... Still, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's really, if I'm being honest, Mario Kart World is really the system seller for the Switch 2 at the moment. It's really the game you want to buy if you get Switch 2. And then everything else is, like, extra, you know? I mean, if you, like... Say if you really wanted to play Cyberpunk and you never played before, you know, you have that option. But if you've already played those games, there's kind of not really any point buying them again for the Switch 2. I can get a lot of these games on a PS4 anyway, so it's just like... I don't really particularly care. So far, not really a whole lot that's coming out soon is particularly interesting to me. Of course, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 is coming out for Switch 2. I don't know what's going on with that, actually. It's not coming out the same day as the other versions in July. It just says, like, if you go on the Nintendo website, it just says release date summer 2025, which makes me believe that it's going to come out a little bit after, maybe like August or something. Don't know why. And there's also hasn't been confirmed yet if it's going to be on a, you know, physical cartridge, or if it's going to be a game key card or whatever. So that's what I'm definitely going to buy for the Switch 2, even regardless if I have the system or not, because you guys know I like to, you know, I'm going for the full set of getting every version of every Tony Hawk game. So of course I was going to buy the Switch 2 version of that regardless. As long as it's not a code in the box, of course. If it's a game key card, yeah, sure, I'll still buy it. Not ideal, but you know. Other than that, like, there just really isn't much. I mean, Donkey Kong Bonanza looks kind of interesting, but it doesn't come out till July. Yeah, I have no interest in Pokemon Legends. Metro Prime 4, like I said, might get for the Switch 1. And yeah, there's probably some others I'm missing, but I don't think it's worth it. At this point in time, you know, the system just came out today. There just isn't enough games that interest me to want to actually pull the trigger and get one. You know, it's as simple as that. Mario Kart World and Tony Hawk 3 and 4 are really the only two games that I'm interested in, pretty much. And maybe Donkey Kong as well. Yeah, so that's the reason why I didn't pre-order the system, why I'm not getting it anytime soon, is because for me personally, I just don't think it's worth it. I just don't think it's worth it spending all of this money for essentially like one or two games, you know? I'd rather wait like 6 months to a year for more games to come out, and then like the price of, you know, getting all this stuff will feel more justified, you know? Because then like I'll have like, you know, I could buy a whole bunch of games along with the Switch 2, you know? It's just not worth it for me right now, you know, especially with how expensive Mario Kart World is. Like I said, man, I'm not paying £75 for that game. I refuse to pay that much for Mario Kart, alright? It's probably an amazing game, but like I said, it ain't worth that much to me, alright? That is a game that I'm more likely going to get used. I'm sorry, Nintendo. You ain't getting my money with that one, alright? I'm not paying that much for a fucking car race of all things. That's basically my stance on the Switch 2, pretty much. You know, I'm not one of these people that's out here, like, you know, encouraging people to boycott the system because of how expensive it is or anything like that. I am interested. I do want to get one, but it's just right now, I don't think it's the right time for me to get a Switch 2. Simply put, because there just isn't enough games where I can justify buying a whole new system for it. I'm curious to know, did you guys pre-order a Switch 2? Are you getting one today? Let me know down in the comments. Give it like another 6 months to a year. Who knows when I'll eventually get one, but I do want to get one at some point. For sure, I do want to get one, but I just don't need it right now. You know, I'm perfectly fine with my original Switch. I've actually been playing my original Switch quite a lot as of late, especially like I've been replaying Tony Hawk's 1 and 2 again. on here actually. The original Switch is an amazing system, you know, I'm perfectly fine with holding on to this for a little bit longer, you know, just don't feel it's necessary to upgrade at the moment, you know. Yeah, I don't really know like what else to say pretty much, you know. Like I said, I will get a Switch 2, but just not right now, alright? Just not right now. So yeah, so that's all I gotta say pretty much. I hope you guys enjoyed this quickish, short little discussion video. And yeah, if you did, don't forget to give it a like and maybe consider subscribing if you haven't already. And I shall see you guys in my next video. Until then, take care now.